Yes, a very big welcome to you all. This is the GameFace Footy Show for the SFNL Division 4. Can't wait to rip into this one because we've got a jam-packed show, including CPL coach Kane Padman. He is in the studio and I'll intro him in a second. Lyndhurst and CPL unite for the Beyond Blue round. That's going to be fantastic. Moorabbin upsets Hallam and South Yarra records first up win at new home. We'll dissect all of those stories, but first I'm going to go to Will, and Will's going to introduce our fantastic panelman.
Well, of course, this is Kane Padman, as you said off the top, the coach of CPL. But you've left out our mate down the end. He's been bumped down the edge of the desk. Paddy, great to see you again this week.
Still here, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me. Always good.
I didn't miss you, man. I just asked you to introduce you. Anyway, we have got a very special guest, and he is the coach of Karen Patterson Lakes, a fantastic footballer in his own rights. But the man is so selfless, he decided to give up football so he could concentrate on the next generation coming through and coach them the right way. How are you, Kane?
Very good, Robbo. Very good. Thank you. Well, very well said. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Very first question's got to be how the boys going down there.
Very different to last year in terms of obviously our start. So we come off obviously 8-0 last year and then couldn't sustain it through finals. So probably a little bit of adversity early on this year, which is keeping us nothing short of honest. The sides that have come in have proven to be no pushovers in Hallam and South Yarra. You've got Dandenong, who effectively have gone from not being able to score to scoring near 100 points a game and are probably an 8-goal at a minimum better side than last year. So it's probably harder, in all honesty. It's probably a bit tougher, but we can only do as we do and keep striving to where we want to go. So, but yeah, definitely a little bit different in terms of the first year at the helm, but that's how it is.
The competition's changed a great deal in the space of 12 months. There was a big sort of, I guess, a divide between the top sides and the bottom sides last year, but what we've seen in sort of the first 5 rounds of the season, it's tightened right up and it's a fantastic comp. So any side can beat any other side on this day, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, it's most definitely the case. So, and you're right in saying that there was a huge gap from sort of your top 4 that would play finals, being I think five or 6 games outside of the 4 on points. Where you look now from Lyndhurst undefeated on top right down to Dandenong's the only side that haven't won one, and really their effort and their intent's been terrific. So yeah, much harder comp and no easy Saturdays, Wilbur.
That's it.
So what do you do from here with how you're going? Because obviously we expected you to be travelling very nicely at this stage. You're currently 2 and 3.
Correct. Yeah.
What is the next step in the process? Obviously, you haven't travelled as well as you thought. The competition has improved around you. How do you get the boys back on track to the position where we think and probably you think that you should be?
I think most importantly is keeping that investment in there. So obviously that whole cliche word with buy-in, that's the main thing. They sort of losses are going to happen, and you learn more from them than you do. Winning's easy, winning's terrific, and it's no one likes to lose. Or I don't think I've met anyone that goes out to say, hey, we're happy to get done. But if anything, it's probably shown us that it's not as easy as you think, and it doesn't matter what division. That word finals is always going to be hard. So I guess it's just the group staying together, extract what we can. Yep. What good we can from each week and bottle that, and then be honest in our assessment of where we sort of didn't stand up or measure up.
Yep. So the group are handling that pretty well. They're not thinking that their expectations were a little bit too high, or they're coping with the fact that they probably do have to do a little bit more work.
I think that now it's definitely evident, and maybe you look at round 1 and you think, well, I think maybe we got caught sleeping, and it's a young group with average age of between 23 and 25 years old, which is sort of unheard of at senior footy. Much like Lyndhurst has got a younger list, but senior footy clubs, that 28, 29, that maturity and that mental stability comes in. So. For mine, yeah, it's just them knowing that we're good enough and sustaining it and being able to keep ourselves in it. So injuries happen to everyone. That's part of footy. But the thing for mine is trying to get them to realise that this is what we've got, and on our day we're good enough if we put that all to fruition. So
one of the hardest things to do in footy is to mitigate against expectation Because, I mean, you can see it with my club in the AFL at the moment, and I know I hark back to the Melbourne Football Club, but everyone sees the AFL, and you see last year they're this fantastic team, players chock full of confidence, ball one take, kicking goals and run and gun. But this year it's complete opposite of all of that, and it's probably got a lot to do with that expectation put on you from yourself, your friends, your family, fans. How do you mitigate against that at Karen Patterson? As the coach, you've got young guys coming in, you say, look, we expect to play grand finals, but you don't want to overawe them and create that stress of, oh God, we've got to perform well. How do you do that as a coach?
I think you wear most of that. When you take the role on, you know that it's going to come with that element, and I'm much the same. I'm sure Paddy was the same, and you've been in footy at the highest of ranks. So it's something that I try and sort of stay positive with, and I've grown myself in that area. Trying to ride that out, and at times, and I think it helps if you've got some good leaders at the club also. So that, your captain is most important, and that leadership group, those 2 or 3 there who've been tremendous this year. We've got Paul Marasha, our captain, and Brent Rafferty, Toby Dharma, and Andrew Code, who are all really, really good leaders. So they've sort of taken it upon themselves this year to sort of remove some of that stress of substance and deal with some of the players more front on, and they've been terrific. So I think it is hard, as you said, Robert, but it comes down to the senior aligned heads and those that can sustain it around the club, and it's never easy. It never gets easier. I think you just get better at it. So, but most definitely, I think it helps having those leader type heads around the club. Most definitely.
I think what sort of gets lost in all this a little bit as well is the fact that. Look, from a coaching point of view, you're not a 10-year coach. You're sort of, fair to say, relatively new to the Cape. I mean, you've only been in the role sort of, a couple of years at max. Yeah,
absolutely. I started at under-10s in the MPNFL with Bomb Beach, which is probably one of the... I learnt more there than I did anyway. And then, obviously went across to CPL 2 years at reserves coach. Then, in unfavourable circumstances, got put in as a caretaker, the senior role with 6 games to go. And then obviously into my second year now. So it's into my 4th year, but only last year was my first year at the helm at senior ranks, and you do see the change and feel the pressure most definitely. But
so you're developing as we go.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so you're learning every single day. So it's as much of a learning experience for you as it is for the players being in this sort of situation.
100%, and I think you've got to look at it that way as well, because we all know things and we all have a common love, which is footy, and there's things that I do know, but there's a stack that I don't know. So, and I think you've got to have the ability to be willing to learn and take that on. Otherwise, you probably don't last, Will. But it's always changing, mate, and rapidly growing. So, most definitely, I've got a lot to learn, and that's why a good mate like you by my side, and I'll be right, mate.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's easy, just one more for you. It's easier for us to, outside the club, to look at your win-loss record and a couple of games and just sort of throw stones, and easy to make assertions, and particularly the boneheads on social media. It's easy to know what's going on without being in the inner sanctum. So there've been a couple of rumours floating around. I'd like to sort of knock those on the head at the moment. So just knock those on the head.
You're referring to something you may have read on forums, or
I love Big Footy.
Let's go.
Here we go. So many great comments on that.
If you want to lose 10 brain cells with every word you read, just hop on Big Footy with some of the knuckle draggers on that.
If you take it seriously, I mean, you probably shouldn't be in the industry. I was a bit bored. I was a little bit bored last night, and I thought I'll go and have a squeeze, because we've come off a loss, a heavy one, and the name hasn't been raised, and the team sort of, and it's good, you're under the radar, and you think good, and then you crush to reality. So, and then sure enough, I log on and it says that Kano's lost the playing group, and his contract may expire faster than he realises. So I had a bit of a chuckle at that, and I wrote some very nice words back, and to whoever bounced back is. Under his name on under his name on Big Footy, I'm just logged on as myself as Kane, so he can see it's me. But I really appreciated his thoughts, and it was good. It was thoroughly entertaining.
Couldn't be further from the truth, could it?
I mean, I'm honest. I'm honest at all times. You have to be. And if there's a problem, I'll try and sanction it. I'll try and oversee it and fix it. And you're never going to have smooth sailing across the board at a footy club. But one thing's for sure is that the group's still got a good core and a good culture. We've just got to get some things to sync, and when I say sync, I don't mean sink down. I mean sync together. And we'll be okay. So yeah, no, mate, our inner sanctum and what comes with it is okay. But I'll bounce back. Thanks for looking out for me.
It's all what they say at the top level, outside noise. It's outside noise. You don't mind any of that sort of stuff. You know what's going on the inside. And
easy to sink the boots in from the
very
outside
brave.
looking in.
It's very brave. That's what it is. And I dare say they wouldn't say it to your face, because I wouldn't. No, and I wouldn't get on a forum anyway. Don't look at that sort of stuff. I tell you what, like you said, if you lost 10 brain cells every time you read something bad about yourself, I'd be the dumbest bloke going around, because I've copped it over the years. But we love it. Let's get into it, because a week is a long time in football, isn't it, boys? And we know this because it can turn around and then they'll be saying beautiful things about you online after you get a 10-goal victory next week, which can realistically happen in football, and that's what we love about the game. Lyndhurst hosted CPL. It was, as we say, 14-13, 97, 5-1, 31. Not a great day for CPL, but 10 goals to 1 after half-time didn't really help.
No, certainly not. And Kane, you can probably speak more to this than any of us. So I understand you lost a lot of cattle, particularly in the first half, and just really ran out of legs in the end. So scoreboard probably didn't do the game justice, did it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a finish that we were, that was left us with a nice feeling. The first half was a cracker game of footy. It was physical, it was fast, it was free flowing, and to go in within a goal or thereabout, a goal of difference at half time, you're happy with that, and that was terrific to see that, and we're up and about, and they also were, and I thought this is going to be 4 quarters of seriously good footy. Third quarter came out. We started out of the gates probably a little bit slow, in all honesty, and then lost our entire bench within the span of 10 to 15 minutes. So that's footy, Wilbur.
Yep.
Full credit to Lyndhurst, because they're well drilled, they're in sync with each other. They've had those few years with each other. They know each other inside out, and you can just see them really when they need to. They probably sensed that we were on our back foot, and I can say safely sitting here, if it was reversed, I'd go in for a kill too. So full credit to them, and that's why they sit top. So
Paddy, I'll get you to comment on Lyndhurst. Obviously doing some nice things at the moment.
Yeah, well, they are. From what we spoke about last week, at halftime was probably where we thought the game would be at. We thought it would be that tough, hard, physical contest, because both of those sides just know each other really well. And I know from my time at Lyndhurst, CPL was always just a really tough match. It was always something that the two sides just went at it physically. Was always tough games. And so I expected that, and I expected it to probably be a low-scoring game throughout the whole thing. I didn't see what came in the second half. Bit of surprise to me, so clearly something went on. Lyndhurst had been working on opening games up a little bit more, and it had probably been something that we had struggled at in my time there. So clearly something's gone right for him. So yeah.
And with those injuries, you mentioned one to Tyler Neal had a little bit of trouble with the shoulder. You were telling us off air.
Tyler, he's a terrific footballer, but he's had a recurring shoulder injury for some time now, and carrying it, and still played good footy along the journey with that. So he come off in the third, and with a shoulder that was out and wouldn't go back in. And funnily enough, he was exiting Lyndhurst ground with our trainer, and went over a speed hump too fast, and the old shoulder popped back in. So I guess. Yeah, good comes from bad, but he saved himself a trip to the hospital.
Bit of tape and threw him back out there.
So we've got a new way now of not having blokes have to go to hospital. We just chuck them in the car with Jenny Corrie, and the shoulder bounce back in.
Won't work with a broken leg. It certainly works with a popped shoulder. We're sending that out to all club trainers.
Can confirm it doesn't work with bung ankles.
Give it a go. 200 clicks over the speed hump.
Will has been through that before with a bad ankle going over every speed hump.
Thanks to Dale for that once you picked him out.
She's a good woman, you're a woman. Well done to Lyndhurst and CPL2 on the Beyond Blue game, and well done to the SFNL to making sure that they're looking after a great organisation that's looking after depression and anxiety.
Absolutely.
Beyond Blue game. Well done to you, Kano, for doing all that stuff at home. Moorabbin, the other results, 12-13-85. They defeated Hallam 10-8-68. Big upset. Moorabbin led at every change, Will.
Yeah, they've been in some reasonable form, Moorabbin. They pushed your boys all the way the other week. Absolutely. And a tough place to play footy down at Widdop Crescent. And Yeah, I didn't see this one coming, but Moorabbin, they're obviously on the right track, I think, boys.
We spoke about it last week as well, with Moorabbin saying that they were probably a little bit off the pace from what we thought, but they weren't too far. They, just needed to get those couple of wins, and clearly they've gone out and done it. I didn't see this one coming at all. I thought they were there and thereabouts, but I thought Hallam were probably that step above them. So
that's the beauty of football. You never know what you're going to get from week to week. Frankston, you know what they're going to get. Lots of goals. 23-21, 159. They're playing quite nicely at the moment. They defeated Lindale 5-5-35. Paddy, Frankston just rolling on.
They seem to be in a pretty good spot, don't they? Yeah. They're obviously a bit of a shock from Lyndhurst last week, where Lyndhurst kept them to, I think, was it 4 or 5 goals for the game, and come back out this week against Lindale and just absolutely smash it and roll on with the show. They've been really consistent with that high-scoring football, so it must be good to watch.
I think Lindale, the difference between their good and their bad is astronomical, and we see, they've had some positive performances, but have a tendency to go from Lindt chocolates to boiled lollies in the space of 7 days. And Frankston Dolphins, full credit to them, 11 individual goal kickers as we see there, and they're looking very, very good. But back to the drawing board for Rod Ellis and his team.
Yeah, they seem to be dropping away a fair bit. I sort of hoped that they'd be around that 5 to 6 mark this year, and clearly they've dropped off a bit, so a fair bit of work for them to do.
You can always rely on our big Will here to put a food analogy in there somewhere. The Lindt chocolates. You've got me mouth watering now, and I might go get some of those on the way home. We're looking for a sponsor too, Lindt. If you want to look after us, that'd be fantastic. South Yarra 15-14-104. They defeat Dandenong 2-6-8 in a very low score for Dandenong. Will, what's going on there?
New venue for South Yarra. We've heard all about their issues with Fritz Holzer, which is not an ideal place to play footy, as you guys will be acutely aware.
$1 million homes in a 10-cent venue. So, yeah, it wasn't ideal, but...
Yeah, but no, look, they've got a new home there at Lee Park in Baldwin North, and good to celebrate that with a first up win. Dandenong, they've been competitive, but no match for South Yarra, who we saw last week. A narrow win over Hallam. Their best is pretty good, South Yarra.
South Yarra right up and in it this year, which is, we weren't sure how they were going to sit. Clearly, Hallam and South Yarra right in the mix, so it's good for the division. Clearly, Dandenong have still got a fair bit of work to do as well. Dandenong and Lindale are going to be on about the same par as each other, but the other 6 are right up and in the mix this year.
Yep.
Well, there you go. You can see the ladder after round 5, and the Lyndhurst boys, the lightning away at the moment. Frankston Dolphins boys up on the top, and Dandenong and Lindale down the bottom there. CPL, it's 2 wins and 3 losses. Those middle 3 teams you could throw a blanket on too, couldn't you?
Exactly right.
It's not the end of the world at all. Two wins, 3 losses. But
hardly panic stations.
There's a bit of work to be done from an outside point of view, but not the end of the world at all.
Have you played any of the bottom sides, Kano? Or have you?
We played Dandenong, which was one of our 2 wins for the year. So we've yet to play Lindale. So Frankston upcoming, and Lindale the following Wilbur. So yeah,
I still think you guys are right in the mix for finals. So even though you're sitting outside the 4 at the moment. Not time to throw the baby out with the bathwater by any means.
Not at round 5, you wouldn't think.
No, yeah, exactly right. And I think I go off this year as well, and it's by no means is it a diversion. But I look at last year. We were 8-0. We finished on top, 2 games clear, home and away, and then obviously come up against Paddy's boys in the first final, and they were all over us, and then obviously come up against a raging Cerberus with Jimmy Miller at the forefront,
and not welcome around here.
and that happened. So it just shows, they're not. Again, we certainly do have things to work on and fix and to be better, but they're if anything, I think we all learnt last year that the Cup's not won in May or June, mate. So we'll
exactly right.
That's not when you want.
It's not when you want to be playing your best footy.
Moral of the story is there's plenty of season to go for that sort of stuff to be sorted out. And Kano, I'll just give you a little tip, mate. There was a few years there at Melbourne where we struggled, and one of the best training sessions we ever had to get ourselves out of that slump was held at a local pub, where a few beers were drunk, a few jokes were told, and we came out and won the next week. Now, practice responsible drinking at all times, but if you want to know a little bit more about how to get out of a slump, I can help with that one. That was a great session.
So tomorrow night we're at the deck,
yes,
getting lit.
See you there, boys.
And knock off Frankston, you beauty.
Big shout out
I might
to the
have
deck.
to pull the boots back on.
Should I trust him, Wilbur? Does Robbo get me set up?
Do they do a good palmer and a pint at the deck?
I don't know. It's not our chosen venue. We've actually got a few other sponsors, being the Riviera in Seaford. I don't know what that just. I'm not trying to come on the show and take over and plug, but the Riv Hotel in Seaford, and we've also got the new place in Mordialloc, the Sporting Globe, which is a ripper. So they're everyone else don't go near them. We want to spend as much money as we can, no. We'll be at the pub tomorrow then. Sporting Globe it is.
Sounds good. Any establishment that is looking after local football is a great establishment, and we're happy to look after them. Looking after some of the players too that are rolling around in this division. Is this the Division 4 Team of the Week? And I know you two boys have been poring over the team lists to pull something out. What have you got for us, Will and Kano and Paddy? You can chime in too.
Alrighty, I'll start off with the back flanks, the back pocket. Charlie Pascazio from the Dolphins. Liam Hickman, he's been in good form for you blokes. The full-back, and Jesse Walia from Lyndhurst retains his spot.
Ever consistent. From the halfbacks, Josh Kyle from Moorabbin, Zavmar from South Yarra, and Shaheen Merchant from South Yarra.
Zach Maher even. That's a typo. My stubby fingers can't actually hit the keys on the keyboard particularly well. But good to see Shaheen Merchant. He missed last week with injury, so good to see him back inside. The centre line, Sean Jackson from Moorabbin, Charlie Gardner from Lyndhurst, and Matt Hardy from CPL. Good game on the weekend.
He's worked really hard the last few weeks. He's had a few lockdown roles over the last fortnight, and he's just been super. He's just not only has he won the ball, but he's also reduced some pretty decent players to not let them get to their best. So yeah, he's been terrific and cemented his place in that side well, and he's very under the radar, just cool, calm, and get it done, and no frills, mate. He's what you want as a coach, so he's been great.
Happy days.
From the half forwards, we've got Jaden Peters, another CPL player. He was a new player this year.
He came across from Frankston Dolphins last year, and he's been in the senior side from round one. So he started as a running sort of halfback flanker, and then he actually we moved him forward against Moorabbin because of the mark that Josh Kyle was running. Very talented player. So Jaden went forward and kicked four. So he's got a new name at the club. Paddy, it's a swingman, the swing man, Peters. But no, he's been terrific. He's working hard, and he's proven that he's capable of playing good footy.
Nice. And at centre half forward, Jeremy Jacoupy kicked a bag of six, so not bad for him from a bloke who should play at half back.
JJ.
And another half forward flank is Callum Collier from Frankston Dolphins.
CC.
And the forwards, Sean Falla, Orange Boots lit it up last week as well. Hamish Browning from Lyndhurst, a big unit, and Brent Rafferty from CPL, plenty of experience there.
In the ruck is Jackson Post, Jacob Mertens, I'm guessing, and Sam Ferrari from Hallam.
Or as Matt McIndoe dubbed him, Tough Stickers. And again, I distance myself from that, Sam, if you're watching. And on the interchange bench, Jack Shalassian, Trentus Bista, Antonio Gaetano from Dandenong, good to see Dandenong player in there, and Nathan Jerram from Hallam as well.
Several players in that who have been very consistent so far this year.
Absolutely.
A lot of the same names keep showing up, so it's good signs for some young blokes there.
Absolutely.
Nicely done, boys. That was the team of the week for round 5. Let's move on to the upcoming round 6, the fixture and the tips for you. Dandenong will be hosting Moorabbin. This could be a tough one for Dandy, or is it going to be an easy one for Dandy?
Look, I like what I've seen from Dandenong in terms of their improvement. I think Moorabbin up and down as well. I think Dandenong will give it a good shake, but Moorabbin too strong for mine.
Moorabbin for me as well. But the one positive that Dandenong can take out of this is Moorabbin have been pretty highly scored against this year. So if they can kick a bag, you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, and I'll get your tip as well, mate.
A lot of these boys said hit it on the head. So Moorabbin very capable, dangerous when they link on with some prime movers, and Dandenong just should be nothing short of very proud of their efforts under adversity and duress, really battling, and they've been terrific this year, and I've got a lot of respect for those guys. So like they said, I think Dandenong are very capable of putting up a good show, but Moorabbin for mine's just got too many silk movers, and will get the job done.
Nicely said. This could be the match of the round. Hallam taking on Lyndhurst. What do you reckon, Will?
2 losses in a row. You'd expect Hallam to come out firing on their home deck. Lyndhurst making every post a winner. I think they're still undefeated, so Lyndhurst, but Hallam will make them earn it.
Yeah, Lyndhurst have never won at Hallam, so this will be the first time, in my opinion, that they do. So
I'll be singing the song loud if they get over the line, Kano. What do you reckon?
two good sides. We'll go deep this year. For mine, Lyndhurst have just at the moment just got their craft mastered with their defensive layout and overlap. So I think it'll be a good game in a shootout. But I think Lyndhurst will always pull that noose defensively and get it done.
Good stuff. CPL at home. Back at home, Frankston Dolphins, how are they going to go, Will?
Big test for your boys, Kano. I think Frankston Dolphins are one of the benchmark sides in this competition, probably along with Lyndhurst. But, I look at the CPL list and I think that if they start to click, they're capable of challenging any side. So hopefully you guys can bring it on the day. Unfortunately, I'm tipping Frankston on this one, the Dolphins. But yeah, hopefully you guys will make it a really, really good contest.
Thank you, mate.
I'm going to go Frankston as well. Sorry, Kano. With consistency on how they've been so far this year, Frankston have been very consistent, and I expect them to continue.
Good stuff, Kano. How do you take on Frankston? How do you beat them? Without giving too much away, of course, being the coach, how do you beat the Frankston Dolphins?
They're well coached as well. They've got a good coach, Chris Lacey. He's coached this group from the reincarnation, and obviously they picked up some good stock. So how do you beat them? It's 90% above your shoulders. Yep. So we'll turn up in the right mindset and we'll roll the dice and have a good crack. And we're going to go get on the pots tomorrow night, as you suggested, and we'll be bang on come 2:15 on Saturday. And I'm feeling confident.
Hey, if it works, you're going to be coming in here next week and shaking my hand.
I'll take you to Bali. We're off, mate. We're off.
Sounds good. And rounding out round 6 will be South Yarra hosting Lindale, Will.
South Yarra too, good in short, but Lindale, we don't know what to expect from them. They could run them to 15 points, or they could get belted by 15 goals. So impossible to know.
Yeah, I won't go with a scoreline on this one, but South Yarra should do it.
You agree with that, Kane?
I do. They've got some very good players. Is Steakhouse back injured, or is he still in? But and saying that, Lindale's actually, they've got some blokes that can play and kick. Like you've got Day and you've got Kimitatis and Shane Thomas.
He played on the weekend. I don't think he played so far this year.
Shane Thomas is more than capable as a player. So but yeah, South Yarra for mine have just got a really good balance over the park. So I think they'll run them off their feet, Robbo.
Well said, boys. That's all we've got time for. I'd like to say that was fantastic insight, because we've had a lot of players come on, Will, haven't we? And we've talked about the game out on the ground. To have a coach come in and talk about how it is these days to coach young men, because it is a bit of a challenge for all coaches that I talk to. Good luck for the rest of the season for you, mate, at CPL. We really do hope you get things back on track and have a great crack at it towards September action.
Thanks, Robert. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated.
Good on you, Paddy. Good to have you back, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Good to see you as always, and you too, Will.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Can you see how earnest I am by saying, I really am?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Pleased to be.
Cheers, boys.
That has been the GameFace Footy Show for the Division 4 in SFNL. We will see you next week as we pick apart another round of great football action.